All right, and welcome to the show, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell, building damage experts, every Saturday right here on iHeartRadio, 94.1 FM, 93.1 FM, and on the AM dial 540 AM if you're driving through the Orlando listening area, or on iHeart. Download the iHeartRadio app, and you can search. I believe it is Joe. Help me out here.
Let's see. It is News Talk. It's News Talk Central Florida. News Talk Central Florida.
There you go. And I think it even has a direct website address. I think it's WFLAOrlando.iHeart.com, and I'm reading the board up there. So WFLAOrlando.iHeart.com to listen to the show. The audio that we put out every Saturday is actually recorded via podcast here in Central Florida in Altamont Springs. You can go check us out on our Facebook page, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. Also, we have a landing page, contractortalkpodcast.com. We can transport you there from the Facebook page, but if you want to have a peek in our studio and watch us as we post-produce. I don't think we're not at the level yet where we're going to go live on Facebook, but we do stream the podcast and the audio.
We're getting close. I mean,
are you feeling froggy? I mean, sometime soon we're going to have to.
Very soon. Stay tuned because you're going to get that notification. So make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff, because you don't want to miss it when it goes live. It's too hot to handle. Almost.
Oh, wow. Well, I am watching that. It's a different subject for something. It's great reality TV that makes me feel so much better after watching.
That's right. Too hot to handle.
And speaking of, we'll give some applause to our guest, my co-host in every show here, Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We would not be the same without the one, the only Hans Kennon with Morgan & Morgan.
Glad to be here. I feel like Ed McMahon. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
If you're watching, you can see Hans's suit, and every week it's going to be something even more incredible.
It's going to be dapper
So we'll have to step up our game now that we're going to go live on video. I'll have to.
Yeah, that's right. I expect to see a lot of gold maybe next week, perhaps. Mr. T level.
Maybe Mr. T starter kit, perhaps. Well, something like that.
Well, I was wondering, last week you came in dressed up, ready for court. And my question to you, was it real court or was it Zoom court?
Well, I'll tell you this, whether it's Zoom court or live court, the decisions still matter. So whether you're going in person or just doing it by Zoom, I have found that the wheels of justice, even though they grind slowly, continue to grind either live or by Zoom. So
right, but at least you're wearing sweatpants if it's by Zoom.
You can, not from the waist up. Obviously, you have to dress appropriately. But
yeah, and last week you did not wear sweatpants. So
I did not.
That's why I was questioning.
And I don't wear sweatpants a lot. I think Jim Gaffigan said it best when he said, "Sweatpants are a sign you've kind of given up on life potentially." So I try to avoid that as a means of apparel.
That's just after snack time for me at night. Okay, I need the sweatpants. All right, so on the show today, we've got a good show for you. We have Construction Angels on later on in the show, and it's going to be a great couple segments for you and our listening audience. We have a couple of articles that have come out recently I want to touch on the ever-changing insurance market that we love so much here. The ever-changing market landscape here in the state of Florida. We went from law, we're talking about Florida Supreme, what do they call that? Florida Supreme case law since 1897.
Yes.
Given certain coverages, prevailing party attorneys' fees privileges to consumers against their insurance company. David versus Goliath. And recently we just had that stripped away with us. There are still rumors. I still hear all the time that I heard Morgan & Morgan pulled out of property in Florida.
No, not at all. We still have folks doing it all over the state. We take in many calls every day. We talk to people every day about their claims, obviously at no charge to them. So no, we're happy to be in it, happy to stay in it, and we think as this is going to continue, we'll continue to be able to help consumers. And honestly, as Richie just said, there's some changes in the law that impact in some ways, honestly, how we get paid and who pays us. But we've been able to help people every day. I did 2 mediations yesterday, got both cases settled, but got both the folks exactly what they needed to get their house fixed and still able to make some money feed the family, and take care of the law firm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that's great to hear, in case you have heard that, because other people were saying, well, you know, and we were curious if John Morgan was, you know, was tapping on the shoulder of the governor during all this and asking, what are you doing? You know, he stayed pretty quiet during all that. You saw Dan Newland went up there. So
I will say, you know, most of John's influence is not to the public. You know, he has access to folks at the highest levels, and I think a lot of work he does is more behind the scenes, I would suggest.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just pulling your chain because I know that there was nothing that anybody could have done.
No,
the governor was set in his ways. He was not having a comma, a period, a word changed out of that bill that came through. That just was the death nail for all of us that work in insurance-related claims.
I certainly agree. And again, when you need political capital or ask for political favors, it's certainly better to use it on something where you do have influence, like you mentioned. Those bills came down without any room for even the legislature to change, much less any influence by any outside party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as Representative Geller said, we were brought here to legislate. We are not legislating. He stood up, and it's like screaming into an empty barrel for him, because he's a Democrat, and they were very outnumbered. Let's say on a regular committee, there were out of, like, let's say just, you know, I don't know, let's use round and even numbers. If there's 10 committee folks that are sitting for that, like say if we're in the Insurance and Banking Committee,
right.
8 of them would be Republican. Right. 2 of them, I mean, they're so outnumbered. 2 of them would be Democrat. You know, so let's put it this way, and it's a lot easier to count because there's a lot of representatives, like 120 or 40 state representatives.
Yeah.
In the Senate, there's 40, so it's a lot easier numbers, right? So let's just look at this: representatives, Republicans versus Democrats. When I first got involved in 2014, it was pretty fair. It was 2020, Republicans, Democrats, and you had to really fight for it. But at least it wasn't an unequal power. And you go fast forward to today. There's 28 Republicans versus 12 Democrats.
Right.
So they're having problems filling the seats in these committees with Democrats. So most of these committees were heavy Republicans, 8 versus 4, you know, or whatever. So the Democrats didn't have a standing chance, and Republicans decided they're going to stick together no matter what, because they didn't have the numbers.
Right.
Some of my friends said, "Listen, man, I mean, the governor has been very, very, bullish on this, to the fact that during the off season, before the special session came out in December." And they were changing seats in November. Before that, the governor was threatening all the Republicans and saying, listen, if you don't do what I need you to do, I'll run somebody against you in the primaries and you're going to lose your seat, or you're going to have a very hard 2 years, and we're going to make sure that you get crappy assignments.
Right, no committee assignments.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, no. It was very, very ham-fisted, or I think bullish almost suggests like it's a positive. It was just being a bully.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he just got way too powerful, way too drunk on that power. I mean, where the point to where, and it would kind of, I would almost say it would be okay if he didn't take over the judicial branch as well too, because I mean, he's head of the executive branch, and we lost the legislative branch because they're just doing whatever he wants, and that's why we didn't have major law change before that, because Chris Sprouse was the Speaker of the House, and he stood for the people and said, listen, I'm only going to go so far. So they made the law change, and then they made 2 more after Chris left.
Right.
And that was because we have a very weak Speaker of the House. We have a very weak Senate president in Pasadomo. So they're just then admittedly saying, we'll do whatever the governor wants us to do.
I mean, in print. Like not even just by action. Not even just by action. I mean, literally in the Orlando Sentinel, we're here. The Senate president just said we're here to institute the governor's agenda.
And that's exactly why we're supposed to have these split powers, where with not one person, not one of those branches could be powerful over the other, and we have an equal, fair right. But that has been stripped away from us, taken away from us by having a very powerful governor. So I hope that we all see this and never put ourselves in that situation before. Already, we're going to have to take a break here, give some thanks to our sponsors on the Contractor Talk with Richie Kidwell. We'll be right back.